Hello, it's Alex here. Welcome back. As always, talking about sewing. And I thought I would give you all a bit of an update with regard to the Great Module Sew Along. I'm about halfway through. I've done the topper, one bottom and one top. So before I do that, just wanted to say thank you again to everybody who's subscribing and all the lovely good wishes for our wedding anniversary. We went away for about 5 days just in the UK. We filled the car with dogs and books, and we went off and we went to Northumberland, which is a part of the country we don't really know very well. And we had a cottage with an open fire, and we spent our days reading and faffing about and taking the dogs for walks on some of the most beautiful beaches I have ever seen. So it was absolutely perfect. Probably a bit boring for some people, but just what we wanted to do. So, and the first time that we've had what felt more like a family holiday, but without children. So it felt very much like the beginning of a new stage in our lives. Anyway, that's got nothing to do with sewing, has it? Before I move on to the module Sew Along, I just thought I'd show you a couple of bits of fabric I've got in the last little while. One is this fabric here. It's sold out. It's not been ironed. It's been washed but not ironed. I bought it from Sister Mintaka. It's the first time I've bought anything from her, but she is another independent one-woman band, so another person to be supported. And I saw this, and there was no way on this earth that I was not going to buy it. As you can see, it's got a sort of sketchy mid-century architecture design on it, and I love... Oh, lighting's gone weird. I love anything kind of mid-century, so I had to buy it. It's a Viscose twill. I've got 1.5 meters of it. I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to make with it. I know somebody else that's bought some, and they are going to make a shirt dress, which I think would be brilliant. I've not got enough to do that, even if I was tempted to copy her, which I'll be honest, I am a bit. So don't know what I'm going to make with it, but I couldn't resist it. And the other thing that I ordered, am I the only person that does a bit of a late night order and then something turns up and you think, oh, I'd completely forgotten I'd ordered that. Anyway, I ordered this fabric, which came from Japan, and unfortunately I got a customs charge, so I had to go and pick it up for the post office and pay £11.71 for the privilege. This seller sells a lot of the Koka and Nani fabrics, a lot of really amazing Japanese fabrics. And because she, I guess, is based in Japan, the prices are a lot cheaper than buying those same fabrics from people that sell them here. However, the downside is I've only ordered twice, and both times I've had a customs charge. I was kind of told I'd just been unlucky, which is why I did it a second time. So I don't know, because she's got a bigger range and she's got more than the sellers here sell, so I probably would still order, but you need to bear in mind. I mean, you can, surely you know by now this is my kind of a colour. Obviously, I mean, it's a polka dot, but it's a slightly splotchy polka dot. I love this colour, and I mean, I think the camera is picking this up. There is a kind of satiny sheen to it. These Nani fabrics are always very, very narrow. They're usually about, 110 centimetres. So you don't get the same amount of width. So anyway, I thought I would show you those. And also, before I move on, just quickly, I will tell you, do you remember if you watched any of my previous videos, I said that I was making a V-neck top and I was struggling to get the V just right. And that's what I'm wearing now. It's the Seamwork, I think it's the Aberdeen. And I used the tutorial on YouTube that I'll link below again to get the V right. I didn't want to do the thing where the band on the collar kind of overlapped at the V. Do you know what I mean? So you have one that goes like that and one that goes like that. I wanted them to come to a sharp V, and I wanted to see how to do that. I have achieved it. It's a little bit wobbly and it's not ideal. So I think next time I'll just do the overlap thing and stop trying to be clever. And I quite like it. The fabric is from, what do they call this? I don't know. Can't remember. Oh, Harper. It's called Harper Jersey from Lulou Designs, and this is the teal colour. I bought this at the Manchester Sewing Bee. Right, so let me tell you about these items I've made for the module Sew Along, and I'm going to start with the topper, which, if you want to know a little bit more about my plans and my thinking and why I've chosen the pattern and the fabrics, then I'll do a link below and a thingy up here for that previous video. But basically my intention is to wear this partly almost as a jacket, so unbuttoned, partly as a shirt dress with bare legs when the weather ever gets good enough to be able to have bare legs. I mean, the thought right now. Anyway, and also for the time being I'll wear it as a dress with tights, and I'm a big fan of a big chunky boot. And then I'm also really looking forward to wearing it kind of in its shirt dress form but over trousers, because I'm loving that whole trend is coming back, so I'm really looking forward to that. And everything pretty much went to plan. I've made many Kalles before, like lots of people. It's obviously an incredibly popular pattern. It's from Closet Case Patterns. Yes, it is from Closet Case Patterns. I made the sleeved version. There's a sleeve expansion pack, so I made the sleeved version, and I also chose the hidden placket version or concealed placket, partly because I was colour blocking and partly because I'm a big fan of a concealed placket, because you don't have to worry about making a mess of your buttonholes because they're hidden underneath it. So I did that. I did add some to the length. I wanted the front hem to sit around about knee length, and I squared off the back hem. So the back is square, the front is still curved, but I reduced the amount of curve from the original, from the pattern. That's just personal preference, and I just feel sometimes when a shirt dress does look like a sort of elongated shirt, I find them less wearable. So that's just what I did, just for me. And I really, really love how it turned out. I really also love the process of making it. Because I was colour blocking, I had to be an awful lot more careful and take my time over it, because clearly even the slightest wobble on that front placket would have shown. So I really enjoyed that, and obviously with the collar, with the collar stand being in a different colour, you know, anything wobbly or sort of out of shape would really notice. So it just meant that I really took my time over it, and I thoroughly enjoyed doing that, I have to say. The fabric is the Tencel Twill from Lulou Designs, both fabrics. So that's the rust colourway and that's the sand. I think that this is coming out a little bit more true to colour than when I showed you before. And that is because, hold on, let's just go off on a tangent. I got my camera back. I am back on my proper new camera. Came back from the insurers. It's only taken a million years. So yeah, that's probably why it's looking a bit different. Anyway, yeah, so Tencel Twill, it is absolutely divine to sew with. It behaves itself absolutely beautifully. It's just a really easy fabric. Even though it's got the drape to it, it doesn't move around like a viscose can do. So I really, really enjoyed making it. And because I was using such lovely fabric, I also chose to, I don't know if you can see it, chose to use French seams throughout. Oh, hold on, if I flip the seam. So yeah, I chose French seams throughout just to make it a bit more special. because it is expensive fabric, so you kind of feel like if I'm going to spend all that on the fabric, I want to make it super nice. And because I didn't really know how much fabric I was going to need because I was colour blocking, I over-ordered, and I bought 2 meters of the rust and 1 meter of the sand. So the sand is all gone, but I've got quite a lot of the rust left. I mean, it's possibly even a whole meter. So yeah, that feels really nice. I might make something out of that. Probably a cami top, I think. Not sure. Yeah, I'm really pleased with it. And even like silly things like I just did the thread on the buttons to match the rust colour. So I'm absolutely thrilled with this. I knew the pattern was going to be a kind of old reliable, but the fabric is divine. The only thing that I would say that I would change is I'm surprised. I have made a sleeved version before, but I was surprised by how big the cuffs were. And I looked back at pictures on their website, and I don't think it's me. So there's a sleeve. That cuff is quite chunky, isn't it? But I decided to only do the one button and buttonhole on it, because I could have done a second one, because I thought actually what I'll do, which is probably what it's designed to do, is I'll flip that cuff up and wear it like that, which might mean I might actually need to do another button and buttonhole to secure it, but I'll see how it is when I'm wearing it a bit more. But yeah, there's my topper. 1 down, 6 to go. Not in this video, don't panic. So then onto the trousers, and I had planned to make some chinos, and I think I'd settled on a seamwork pattern that I already had that I thought was suitable for wovens, not stretch wovens, and I got all ready to make it and found when I actually looked at it, it was also for stretch wovens, and that seems to be the case with most chino patterns. So I had another search, and I came up with a pattern from a company that I have never used before, and that is the Alina design company, and they are the Chi-Town Chinos. And I think originally this was a shorts and short skirt pattern, and then there were 2 expansion packs. I can't remember what the other one is, but I bought the expansion pack that turns the shorts into trousers. And I think there are a number of different pocket variations, and different back pockets or patch pockets, welt pockets, all that sort of thing. I've never even heard of this pattern company before, let alone made anything from them. So I was a little bit nervous, because trousers are the kind of thing you want to be sure that the instructions are going to be good on. And I was really, really pleased. I loved making these. The instructions were good. They were really nice and clear, down to the extent that I even used the instructions in the pattern for the back welt pockets, and I don't normally do that. Normally, if there's a welt pocket, I've got a tried and tested method, which is, I think, a Palmer Pletch method from one of their books. I'll put a link below or a title. I find that method really good, but this was very, very similar to it, so I thought I'll give it a go, and I was really pleased. I think the pockets turned out absolutely fine. So the fabric is exactly as planned. It's the fabric that came from Fabworks. It's a Gaberdine. Now, when it arrived, it was a bit darker than I'd anticipated. So that's inside out. I thought it was going to be just a little bit darker, more towards brown than this kind of sandy, tanny kind of colour. But that's not to say it's a problem. I'm still very happy with it. It's just the joys of buying fabric online, isn't it? I mean, sometimes you just don't get something that's quite what you envisaged. But I really love this fabric. It's got a lovely quality to it. It's got a brushed feel, which I don't think they mentioned on the listing, or if they did, I haven't clocked it. But yeah, it feels exactly like good quality chino fabric. So absolutely spot on. And it was a joy to work with as well. This fabric for my pockets which has been in my stash for 100 gazillion years, from Abercarn. And then I used the same bias binding for the waistband and the fly at the front. Same bias binding from Frumble as I used on the dress I made recently, because that just looked like that went really well. So that's how it looks on the inside. My battery just died mid-flow, so where was I? Oh yes, the only problem that I had with these chinos was a fit one. I did make a twil, which I made out of quilting fabric, although I only did shorts lengths, which is fine. That was absolutely fine. When I made the actual chinos, I did have the good sense to baste them and fit them before just sewing up the seams. But what I found was that I'm not supposed to be touching our faces, are we? I didn't realise I touched my face as much until I started doing this channel and seeing myself do it. Anyway, yeah, what I found was that I got a lot of sort of gathering under my bottom, basically. And I do sometimes get that with ready-to-wear trousers. So there's obviously something to do with my shape and a standard pair of trousers, a standard block. I did go online and I did look at, you know, all the various brilliant information there is about fitting. Closet case patterns have some because of their ginger jeans, and there are all sorts of resources out there, but very few actually identified the problem I have. So in the end, I did a bit of basting and trying things, all sorts of different options. What seemed to work was when I took a little bit out of the curve of the rise on the back, and that helped a lot, but it didn't 100% get me there. And there was a point where if I took out too much of the curve, then the problem kind of got worse again. So a combination of taking some out of that and a little bit off the inner leg, but not too much. And I've now got slightly less fabric in that area, but it's still not spot on. But I got to the point where A, to be honest, I was getting impatient, fed up. And B, I just thought, it's fine. If this was a pair of trousers that I bought in the shop, I wouldn't even think twice about it. It's only because I'm a sewing person that I'm looking at it with a critical eye. And I've got a fit workshop that I'm booked in. I'm not until May, but with a lady called Celia Banks, who is an absolutely brilliant teacher. And I think she is one of the few Palmer Pletch sort of authorised trained people in the UK. So she'll be really good on fitting. What's really annoying is that she's retiring. So anyway, if you see any courses taught by Celia, she's usually in the north of England. Go. So when I go to that, I'm going to ask her about this issue I've got, but until then, I'm making do. And I'm quite happy with it, really. I'm just being fussy, I guess. So yeah, overall, I'm really pleased. The welt pockets were great. I mean, you know, we don't blow our own trumpet, do we? But I wouldn't pick those up out of the washing pile and think that's a pair of homemade trousers. So I'm really pleased with them. Yeah, so that's my first pair of bottoms done. And then last but not least, but kind of least really, my plan was to make a t-shirt, or actually I said I was going to make two, which I will do. I made the Stellan tee from French Navy, which is a free pattern, and I made it out of this ivory Harper Jersey from So Delicious. So it's the same jersey material as the one I'm wearing now. It's ivory, so it is an off-white. I'm not sure how clear that's coming across on there. You know, it's £7 a metre, and it takes 1 metre to make this t-shirt. So I've made a t-shirt for £7. If you buy a t-shirt in the shops for £7, it's probably been made in a factory, God knows where, by somebody who's being paid a pittance in fabric that's going to become a dish rag in a matter of weeks. So, you know, I know people get tempted to only make all the kind of fancy, lovely stuff when you're sewing, but actually making basics like this is, you know, I get as much of a joy out of that than I do making a fancy schmancy dress. So I'm really happy with this. I think I could, it's nice and baggy, and I potentially could size down. I've got the blue one to make. I think what I'll do when I make the blue one is I'll size down and see how that goes and see which one I prefer. But yeah, what can I say? I mean, it's a t-shirt pattern. It's dead easy. It comes together. The instructions are great. I made it all on the overlocker. I used my twin needle to top stitch, and I have got a bit of tunnelling. You know, I do actually own a cover stitch machine, and I've kind of, yeah, I've not used it for months really. It's very temperamental, and it's a bit of a pain really. But it seems crazy that I've got it because it wasn't cheap. So to have it and not use it is a bit bonkers. So I need to kind of fall in love with it again. And Joanna, who is The Last Stitch on YouTube, she is the cover stitch expert. She has got some really good videos. So I probably need to go back and rewatch those. And do you know what? I am going to commit to using the cover stitch machine to top stitch my blue version of the Stellan tee. Because now I've said it to you, I've got to do it. Okay, plan. So that's where I'm at the moment. I have to be honest, I would remake every one of these 3 items. I wouldn't think twice about making more of them. So, you know, you can't say fairer than that, can you? I am desperate to get on with the remaining items in the module. But I've been a bit distracted, partly because we went away, and then in the last couple of days I have been making something else because I signed up to the Sew Fearless Challenge, and I will be doing another video in regard to that, which will be coming out on Sunday, because that's a whole different thing. So yeah, if you want to see that, if you click the bell, then you get a notification. And yeah, thanks everyone who subscribes. If you fancy subscribing, that would be really, really good. But I will see you on Sunday, and after that, hopefully I'll be back to talk about the next phase. Okay, see you soon. Bye.